Welcome, 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 ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. And happy Friday, everybody. Welcome. And I'm so happy to have you here with me. I'm feeling pretty good. It's a Friday. It's a pizza and movie night. We had a mixture of things, some good, some not so good happened this week. Let's see, who am I saying hello to? Of course, Zelda, you have reclaimed your spot atop the throne of first attendees. Fox Hill Dreams, Monique Lee, Aries Wanderer. Pam Ham is here. Mariana Z? What? Let me find out. I haven't seen you in forever, my friend. Glad to have you here. Lucielle, Black Queen to me, the ABX girl, Watcher Soko. Everybody's here. Glad to see you guys. So we have some things to cover in today's show. So let us do a quick review, a quick summary in what I like to call stories of the day.
Stories of the day.
I don't know why that still cracks me up. It's just funny as hell. It's just my voice in a voice modulator. Stories of the day. I wish I could do that with my real voice, to be honest. Stories of the day. Nah, I don't have it. Anyway, so the title of the title of today's show: DA Fani Willis wins and loses? Question mark. GOP voters rejecting Trump in droves. I love that. I did write this myself. So we have this is a screenshot from a video being produced by Republican voters against Trump, and it is documenting the steadily growing chorus of voters against Trump. And that now includes former Vice President Mike Pence. Oh, and Hunter Biden. Remember when he had that press conference outside the Capitol, and he was like, "I'm more than happy to appear in a public hearing," and Republicans were like, "Nah." So this has come up again, and what happened is hilarious. And last but not least, we have DA, District Attorney Fani Willis, who has been spared from disqualification, but really at great cost. And we will get into that. And before I go any further, let me just remind you, please, if you're just arriving, if you are new to the show, new to the replay, please be sure to hit the subscribe button, which should be in the right-hand corner, lower right-hand corner of your screen, and also hit the thumbs up button. Looks like a thumbs up. Hit the like button, please. Jetstar, I see you. Lucy L, Fly on a Wall, Scott S, Michelle Manziana. Everybody's here. Okay, let's move forward and let's move back. We're moving forward to move back. Let's go. Last week, I discussed with you that I was going to be watching Wonka, which is the latest version of the Willy Wonka story. And actually, when I discussed it with you guys, I thought this was a remake. It's not a remake. It's like a prequel. It's the before Gene Wilder became, like wildly successful. This is when he had nothing. And he was just a scrub, just a little kid with hopes and dreams. And it was very cute. It was an adorable movie. I did like the musical pieces. If you're not a big musical buff or fan, you might not enjoy this as much. I liked it. They were all original songs. Oh, except, excuse me, they did, of course. I remember thinking they better have that Oompa Loompa song, and they did. And it was done by Hugh Grant, who was the only Oompa Loompa in the movie. Okay. Wifey and I started watching this show on Netflix, which is fantastic. It's fabulous. I love it so much. It's called The Gentleman. And as you can see, if you're looking at the screen right now, it says a new class of criminal, The Gentleman, a Guy Ritchie series. So Guy Ritchie actually did the original version of this show. It is a TV show on Netflix, but originally he did a movie, and the movie was starring Matthew McConaughey, also Hugh Grant, also Colin Farrell, and a whole lot of other very, very, very talented actors. And Guy Ritchie, if you're not familiar with this guy's work, you should check out some of his movies. I mean, he's done the remake of the Sherlock Holmes, and he's got a very specific. Oh, what I think he also did Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. He's got a very, very specific style. When you see it, you know it. You're almost like you. When you see it, you'll be like, "Is this a Guy Ritchie movie?" He's like that specific. Um, and basically, it's a show. Wait, let me go back. It's a show, and it says a new class of criminal. So the main character is the dude in the brown suit on the screen here, and he's the Duke, the recently appointed Duke, because his father just kicked the bucket. His father just died and left him as the new Duke, despite the fact that he had an older brother who was not trusted by their father. And when you watch the movie, you'll see why he's a bit of a wreck. And he quickly finds out that their estate, which kind of looks like that building from Downton Abbey. If you guys have seen Downton Abbey, they all have that like very big rectangular building, and that's where the Duke and his family live. They reside in that Downton Abbey kind of style building. Anyway, there's a criminal enterprise being operated, unbeknownst to him, right underneath the premises. Excuse me. So the show is about his efforts to remove this criminal enterprise from his premises, but also now he's entangled with them. So it's really, really very interesting, very funny. I love it so much. Highly recommend it. Highly recommend it. Simon Metcalf, my friend. So sorry for your loss. Our friend Simon is acknowledging the 10th anniversary of his dad's death. Rest in peace to your dad, and Simon. My thoughts and prayers are to you and your family. Glad to have you here, but yeah, really, thoughts are with you. And follower of Jesus. Follower of Jesus is here with very kind words. Great to see you, and hope you and your family are fantastic. We are, darling. Thank you so much. Okay. Oh, and Geocosmic Valentine is here. Lori Donahue is here. Watch Your Circles. Yeah, everybody's here. Love it. All right. So tonight's plan is to watch this movie starring Nicolas Cage, and it's called Dream Scenario, in which he plays. I love Nicolas Cage. He plays an offbeat professor who, for some reason, ends up appearing in people's dreams. First of all, you had me at Nicolas Cage. I do love his work. You know, he's an acquired taste. I think, if people either like him or they don't like him. I happen to like his work. He's very funny. I like his energy and his commitment to whatever role he's in. And the movie premise actually reminds me of another movie that was called Being John Malkovich. And the title of that movie being John Malkovich, that's essentially what the movie is. Like, people walked into a room on a weird floor, and that room allowed them to be inside John Malkovich's brain. That's a very strange movie. Anyway, I'm saying strange movie because I'm making my way to the next movie, and this movie was the recipient of some accolades at the Oscars, which I was unable to watch this past week because I don't have regular cable. Yeah, I did cut the cord, but as a result, I don't have ABC, that's where this special was filmed. And I think some folks were not crazy about Jimmy Kimmel's monologue. I'm neither here nor there on it, but the movie that I'm referring to was starring Emma Stone, and I was a little miffed when I found out that she had outworked, or she had beaten, Lily Gladstone. Lily Gladstone was going for um, actress. What is it? Actress of the year or female actor of the year, whatever that award is. Um, she didn't win it. Emma Stone won it. Now, I have great respect for Emma Stone because she is fantastic. She's a great actor. I've seen her in so many different roles, and she also commits herself. Zelda, my friend, thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you. She does commit herself to the roles that she's in. And so, anyway, she did beat out Lily Gladstone, who was also fantastic in an understated performance in the movie Killers of the Flower Moon. If you haven't seen that yet, it's a 3-hour movie, but trust me, it is worth every last second. You should definitely watch that movie. Highly recommend it. So Emma Stone won the award for a movie called Poor Things, which I don't even know how to describe this movie. It is bizarre. It is peculiar. It is thought provoking and is actually quite entertaining. Very entertaining. So, highly recommend this one. Actually, we haven't even finished this yet. We've had to take a few breaks because, I don't know, for the time that we start watching it, we'll probably finish watching it tonight. Good movie, though. Very good. Very entertaining. It's not just Emma Stone, it's also, oh, damn. Give me a second here. Played Green, played the Green Goblin. I'm looking right at his face. I can't think of his name. Willem Dafoe. There it is. Willem Dafoe. And he was excellent. I still don't know why his face is all cut up like that. And Mark Ruffalo. So highly recommend it. Check it out if you get a chance to. And last but not least, there's a movie. It's a goofy movie that I definitely am looking forward to seeing. It's called Ricky Stenicki, starring Zac Efron and John Cena. And I love John Cena movies. The guy is very funny, and I guess I appreciate his commitment to his roles because he's a big burly dude, and his humor is very self-deprecating and silly. He goes all out. He commits. Love it. And anyway, the movie is about these three friends. They're best friends, and their whole lives they've been using an imaginary friend named Ricky Stenicki to get themselves out of trouble. They would blame their lateness, their late attendance on this Ricky Stenicki. They would blame their absences from events on Ricky Stenicki. And long story short, John Cena ends up playing the role of this guy, Ricky Stenicki. So that's that. Hello, Wilbur McCarthy. I see you, my friend. All right, let's jump right into it. Yesterday, New York Senator Chuck Schumer slammed Bibi, aka Benjamin Netanyahu, on his prosecution of the war against Hamas, right? And I'm saying the war against Hamas, but really every day that goes by, more and more it feels like it's not a war just against Hamas, but it's also a war against the Palestinian people. I said what I said. That is exactly how it appears. Netanyahu is doing everything he can to block aid. Which, by the way, there is a ship that is carrying 200 tons of humanitarian aid to the Palestinians. It has just arrived today. It was held up for several weeks, and it finally got off track, and now it's there. It has just reached Gaza. So I'm very happy to see that. And I was very surprised, pleasantly surprised to see Senator Schumer step out and speak against Netanyahu, because there has been almost, I would venture to say, there's been no more fierce advocate for Israel than Senator Schumer. And so to watch him separate Netanyahu from Israel and say, I support the Israeli people, Netanyahu is no longer helpful to the goals of the Israelis, and nor is he helpful to the goals of the American people. So he said things like, what did he say? That basically his actions are turning the world's sentiment against Israel, and that he's showing that he doesn't care. He has no regard for the Palestinian people. He's got to go. Schumer called for new elections to happen in Israel. I believe those elections are not scheduled to happen for another couple of years. He made it clear that Schumer made it clear his understanding of the situation is that Netanyahu is putting his own political needs ahead of the needs of the Israeli people and ahead of the safety regards for the Palestinians. Because as long as Netanyahu has a war to prosecute, his job is relatively safe. As soon as that war is over, his job is no longer safe. So he has been resisting calls for a ceasefire, and he will continue to resist those calls. I'm not sure where the dam breaks, but I seriously do hope that we do reach a ceasefire. I'm told that negotiations are ongoing, and I saw a few hours ago that progress has been made. Military Eleanor Aquitaine, excuse me. Eleanor Aquitaine, I'm going to just throw this up here. I cannot verify the veracity of this comment, but it looks interesting to me. She's saying military intelligence experts say Netanyahu knew well ahead of time that Hamas was going to strike, but he needed it to divert attention from his legal troubles and fulfill his dream of war on Palestine. Actually, I think I've heard that. I believe I heard that like a while ago too, actually. Let's continue. Vice President Kamala Harris has been stepping up of late, and I, for one, am happy to see this. This is critical. It's crucial. In her early years in office with President Biden, she did not fare as well, and I feel like I feel like traps were set for her, not by the team, but just by detractors, people who hate Democrats, who hate President Biden, and for their own for the purposes of their own agenda, they I don't know, they tried to capitalize on times at which former Senator Harris, current Vice President Kamala Harris, was not at her best. She was admittedly not tip top, but now she's coming on strong, and this is good. This is when we need her. Hi, Claudia. And so she just yesterday, became the first sitting vice president, and actually not just the first sitting vice president, the first member of the executive branch no president previously, no president or vice president had ever visited an abortion clinic. And the one that I'm referring to is a Planned Parenthood that is in Minnesota, I believe. Minnesota is also a very important swing state. So she was there yesterday, and that's a tremendous thing for the Democratic Party and for her. But it's important for her to take the lead on this. And as I understand, she's also going to be taking the lead on another initiative as well. So it's not just reproductive rights, but she's also taking the lead on. They're trying to decriminalize marijuana, which is it's interesting. They're taking that off of President Biden's plate because his son obviously is in recovery, and so he's had his issues with drug use and abuse. Kamala Harris also has an interesting connection with marijuana. It's not a great one. When she was attorney general? I forget if she was attorney general. I believe she was an attorney general in California. She had put a lot of marijuana offenders behind bars. So it'll be interesting to see how she squares that. Will she just sidestep it? Possibly. You can't possibly account for everything that you have done in your past that happens to not square with what your current situation is. Different times require different actions, different beliefs, different strategies. You kind of people adapt and they evolve, and this is where she is now. And Happy Hippie says, "Yay! I finally made the live show. Glad to have you here, Happy Hippie. You made it. Welcome, darling." All right. This week, we also had the Georgia Republican and Democratic primary. President Biden, of course, won that primary easily in dominant fashion. 95% of the vote he came away with. Donald Trump, meanwhile, struggling to get above 85%. And while, he's still, I think you could still count an 84 to 13% win as dominant. Don't get me wrong, that's still dominant. What's interesting to note, you see here, Nikki Haley, I don't know if you can see on the screen there, it shows that she had 72,000 people vote for her. Now you're going to say, well, Brooklyn Dad, of course, people voted for her before they knew that she was going to drop out. Yes, this is true. But what's also true is that on election day, well after Nikki Haley announced that she was suspending her campaign, 20,000 Republicans cast their vote for Nikki Haley, despite the fact they knew she was no longer in the race. What do you think about that? I like it. I like it very much. Why do I like it so much? Because it's a trend. It's a trend, ladies and gentlemen. Whatever Trumpers, whenever I bring that shit up, philosophy, my friend. Thank you, my friend, for that kind of donation. Why do I like it? Because Trumpers hate it when I bring this up. They're like, oh, those are Democrats. Actually, no, they're not Democrats. Oh, yeah, if they're Haley supporters, doesn't matter. There is an absolute definite trend of people who are like, you know what? I can't bring myself to vote for Donald Trump. I did it before. Not going to make that mistake again. And this is a significant development, especially when you consider that when he won in 2016, there were some states where he only won by 11,000 votes. Or look at Georgia. Georgia, where 20,000 people on election day voted for Nikki Haley. In Georgia, Donald Trump was looking for 11,000 780 votes, which is one more than we have. Yo, that's for real. That's for real, for real. So there is a group, and it is called Republican Voters Against Trump, and they are putting together testimonials of people who they've had it. They've had it. They don't want anything to do with Donald Trump. He's disgusted them. He's disappointed them. They don't want it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share with you right now. I'm going to share. Let's see. Hit this. Share screen. And then this one. And share. Okay. Let's do this.
I'm a former Trump voter.
I voted for Donald Trump in 2016 and 2020.
In 2020, I voted for Trump again.
I will never support Donald Trump.
I will not vote for him in 2024.
He's got so much baggage.
Trump is the biggest threat to our democracy.
He kept denying.
And he lost the election.
Donald Trump was responsible for the violence on January 6th.
He could have prevented it.
Trump talking about retribution.
Retribution and going after people is disrespect of our military.
The military people that he's disgraced.
91.
Criminal felonies.
4 different indictments.
He mishandled classified documents.
Taking documents.
Now his desire to do away with NATO.
Donald Trump talks about abandoning Ukraine.
He said he'll be a dictator on day one.
If he's going to be a dictator on day one, he's going to be a dictator, period.
That kind of stuff scares me.
Absolutely scares me.
The second Trump term would be worse than the first.
A second term for Trump would be far more extreme.
It is dangerous, outright dangerous.
I cannot support Donald Trump again.
But never vote for him again.
You'll never get my vote. Ever, ever.
Wow. That is powerful stuff. So I told you I like this stuff. It thrills me to no end. Why? Because when you listen to a video like that, for instance, they sound like you and I, right? These aren't just Nikki Haley voters. As you see, it said, they said, I voted for Trump. These are people who voted for him. And before you go and castigate them, I should have never voted for him. Let's make room. Let's make room for them. Let's make room for them to have an off-ramp from Donald Trump into the Democratic Party just for now. Maybe they're just renting. they're just renting. They're not here permanently. Trust me, when they get a candidate like Nikki Haley or Marco Rubio or one of those other jackasses, even Ron DeSantis, they will leave us quickly. But for right now, the threat that is Donald Trump, they are aligned with us. And it's interesting to hear them talk about he's a threat to our democracy. He said he'd be a dictator, because you hear so many and see so many people, tweets, videos where people are like, I don't care if he's going to be a dictator. We need a dictator right now. No, we don't. And you make the mistake of slipping into the shorthand, right? The political, emotional shorthand that all Republicans are unreasonable and all Republicans are stupid. No. We got to make a distinction. There's MAGA. MAGA is the personification of the 3 monkeys: the see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil. The eyes and the ears and the mouth all shut. That is MAGA. MAGA, whatever he does and whatever he says is fine with them. They don't care. Dictator me, daddy. They don't care. Republicans, however, more like Mike Pence. Mike Pence literally just said, he cannot bring himself to support Donald Trump. That's a pretty big deal, if you ask me. Hang on a second. Let me see if I can grab that. I think I can. Oh, yeah, here it is. Okay, he's right.
Well, Martha,
we have not heard from you. Will you be endorsing your former president? You were on the ticket with him last time around.
Well, Martha, I appreciate the question. And it should come as no surprise that I will not be endorsing Donald Trump this year.
We have not heard from you. Will you be endorsing your...
So, in the past, I have been highly critical of Mike Pence. He was there with Donald Trump the whole 4 years. He grinned at him like an empty-headed idiot, admiring every utterance he made, even though he knew that more than half of the shit Donald Trump said was ridiculous. He still acted like Donald Trump was the best thing since sliced bread. And it was January 6th that broke Mike Pence out of that fever when he found himself having to be evacuated under fear of having his ass killed. There were people in the U.S. Capitol chanting, "Hang Mike Pence." That was a wake-up call. It's a wake-up call. And yeah, I feel like he probably could have and should have done more, but that's neither here nor there. He did run against him, even when he ran against Trump during this most recent primary season. He didn't come out as fiercely, as strongly as he could have or should have. But on January 6th, prior to January 6th, he confided in the former vice president to George H.W. Bush, Dan, whatever the hell his name was, Mr. Potato Head, and asked him, "Do I have the power to do this?" And he was like, no. Even the guy who couldn't spell potato properly was like, no, that's crazy, man. That's crazy. So Mike Pence did the right thing, bare minimum, but did the right thing on January 6th, despite obvious pressure to do otherwise. And now he's saying he will not endorse Donald Trump. That's not a small thing. That is a very big deal, especially when you know that MAGA extremists are ready to give him shit for it. So he's turning away from Trump. Other Republicans are turning away from Trump. You watch his performance during the primaries. There's nothing scary about, how much he struggled against Nikki Haley. Nikki Haley. Anybody who's watching the primary knows that she's just a pretender, but she pulled a not insignificant number of votes away from him. So I'm encouraged. Let's see Dan Quayle. Thank you, Diane. Diane London with the save here. It was Dan Quayle, not Dan what's his name. Thank you. Let's see. Let's get back on here. We had that. And what is this? Why did I put this up here? Oh, okay. So my good morning tweet. Oh, yes, Zelda. Mike found his spine. Finally, not a minute too late. My good morning and happy Friday tweet today was, "Good morning and happy Friday to everyone who understands that a vote for no labels is a vote for Trump. A vote for RFK Jr. is a vote for Trump. A vote for uncommitted is a vote for Trump, and not voting is a vote for Trump. A vote for Biden is a vote for democracy. Vote for Biden." Now, you might have been following my narrative thread there and thinking, "Oh, Brooklyn Dad, you didn't need to say vote for Biden at the end there," but actually, yeah, you did. You can't just lead them to water. You actually do have to coax them into drinking it, Or when I was a salesperson, I used to sell vacuum cleaners. Fun fact, I used to sell Kirby vacuums door to door. back in the day when I was just a teen. I was a teen. I was selling them things too. Excuse me. You can't just show them the product and say, isn't this fantastic? And then pack up and leave. You have to ask for the sale. It's a fun fact. So yeah, and the reason I tweeted about that today is because we just learned yesterday that this jackass, Robert F. Kennedy Jr., a disgrace to the family name if there ever was one, RFK Jr. has narrowed down his vice presidential choices to current Jets quarterback and former Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers and former wrestler and former governor of, I want to say, Minnesota. Hello, John P. Former governor of Minnesota, Jesse Ventura. And also former host of a conspiracy theory show, which was interesting. And I watched it because I love a good conspiracy theory. And so does apparently RFK Jr. And so does Aaron Rodgers. So the last thing America needs, I think, are a conspiracy theorist in chief and a vice conspiracy theorist in chief. That would be disastrous. It's bad enough that Donald Trump politicized the vaccine. He made it almost impossible for his supporters to use it, or for anybody really to use it, because there were those of us on the Democratic side who were like leery. I was leery when I thought, that I thought he was rushing it to be finished. And then I waited. I waited for the first few rounds of people getting vaccines. And then I was like, all right, nobody's really dying. I'll do it. But yeah, it's disgraceful what he did. And we don't need another one of those in the White House. So RFK Jr., I don't even know what his plan is. I don't know how many states he's on the ballot for. Is he just here to start some shit? Is he just here to be a spoiler? Another Jill Stein, another Ralph Nader? We don't need that shit. So really, I cannot stress enough. If you have friends who are like, yeah, I'm going to vote for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. because it doesn't matter. I'm in a blue state. It does matter. It does matter. Let them know. Just don't fuck around. Not this election. Wait until the next election to, be all fancy and stupid with your votes. This election, nah. We still have a threat to our democracy. This might be the last time we all have a free election. Not a joke. Not a joke. That's a joke. This picture of Aaron Rodgers will never not make me laugh. Excuse me. But that picture of Aaron Rodgers on his ass is a perfect symbol for the RFK Jr. campaign. Earlier this week, Hunter Biden. You guys remember when Hunter Biden, when he showed up at the Capitol and he had a little press conference and he was saying that I am more than happy to appear in a public hearing because these sons of bitches, all right, I've been sharing pictures of me when I was at my lowest. They will try to twist my words, try to misrepresent what I say. I don't want it done behind closed doors. I prefer to do it in a public hearing. You guys remember that press conference? Yeah. So he had that press conference. Then he went and sat in the hearing for a few, and it was like, yeah, we're out. But then he actually went back. He went back and had a closed door hearing, despite his reservations against it. He sat in that goddamn closed door hearing and answered every question they shot at him for 6 hours. Sat in that hearing for 6 hours, answered all their questions. They had nothing. This brother was prepared. He made Matt Gaetz look like an idiot, which, to be fair, not really a challenge. Not a challenge at all. So now that their investigation is on life support, really, it's breathing its last few gasps. All of their major witnesses turned out to be clowns, turned out to be jokes, people that, they swore were, highly reputable. Then we find out that this guy Smirnoff, the one who was just arrested for lying to the FBI, they've known since 2016 that he was a clown. So now that their investigations on life support, and it looks like they might not even have a vote to impeach President Biden, which is what these hearings are for, to serve as a reason to impeach the president. Now they want Hunter Biden to bring himself back in for a public hearing. They want a second bite at the apple, to do some more grandstanding and wave some ridiculous accusations at him in public, because they're sure that their idiotic supporters will eat that shit up. Hunter Biden's like, fuck you, the horse you rode in on. Nah, thank you. No, don't want it. Thank you, bye-bye. If it was me, I would sue them. I would sue them for harassment. Yeah, but I'm glad Hunter Biden has had enough of the bullshit. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, she shared freaking dick pics of him. How dare you? Disgusting. And so his sobriety, by the way, continues. I believe he's in his 4th year of sobriety, 4.5, I think. Bravo, my friend. Bravo. Because I know I'm in my 20th year. I know it ain't easy. Every day, maybe not every day, maybe every other day, every week, definitely every week, I do occasionally have an urge, fleeting, whatever, but it is an urge, to smoke a doobie, to smoke weed. I do, and still, even after 20 years, that urge is right there. So just keeping that at bay, it's not easy. So my hat's off to you, Hunter. One day at a time. Thank you, Marie from New Jersey. Thank you, Marie. Thank you for saying that. Oh, wait, this is Marie here. And also in the news, the Biden campaign released a video of him speaking to this young boy, because the young boy is a fellow stutterer. And I thought it was a very nice thing of him to do, because Donald Trump recently thought it would be funny to mock President Biden's stutter during one of his rallies. So using the stutter as a punchline. We've seen him do this bully thing before. We've seen him do that, making fun of a disabled reporter. It wasn't funny then. It's not funny now. I can't imagine that he is gaining more supporters by poking fun at someone with a disability. You think people with disabilities are like such a small, insignificant slice of the electorate? I got news for you. If it's even, let's call it 3%, right? It's even 3%. That's millions of people. It's still millions of people. And you want to piss them off? Man, you ain't got it like that. Especially not after so Taylor Swift has not yet declared her support for President Biden, but when you can guarantee that when she does, it will be a tsunami of support for the president. So I think I do have, let me see, hang on a second. Let me see if I do. Yeah, I do. I think it's a very sweet video. All too often these days, all we see is negative, negative, negative. And I like the fact that he released a positive, positive, positive video. And let me share that with you right now.
Tell me about you.
I have a startle just like you did.
I did too, but don't let anybody tell you that you can't do anything. You can do whatever you want to do. I used to find it hard to talk on the telephone or stand up in front of people and talk. Because people would make fun of it, like this president making fun. But remember, look at me. You're smart. You're handsome. You know what you're doing. Don't let anybody tell you you can do anything. Anything. I met a young man when I was running in 2020 who was a little older than your son. And when we're going through the line, I could tell every stutter could recognize another stutter. Yeah. And he went up. And I said, come with me while I write my speech. I put a little mark on my speeches. And everywhere I wanted, like the hello, instead of saying hello, Milwaukee, thank you, Ray, say hello, Milwaukee, pause. Thank you, Ray, for this introduction and the sharing your family story. It's familiar to so many. So I mark my speeches, every single one.
Thank you so much.
You're so good.
Is that good?
Thank you.
Kind of get you choked up a little bit. Ahem. That's a good guy. That's why I love President Biden. He's just a good man. You know, I'm sick and tired of the plague of meanness that has been visited upon our country with Donald Trump. You know, his supporters, you can see them. They're out there in your tweets talking about, "Ooh, cry harder, cry more, lib tears." Like, wow. I mean, these are the fuck your feelings people as well, and it is exhausting. And long after Donald Trump is gone, these folks are still hungry for that kind of discourse. The kind of discourse where when a cop kneels on the neck of a black man, they're still trying to blame that black man for, you know, the counterfeit check that he allegedly passed on or whatever. You know, that meanness that allowed that child Nex, I cannot remember Nex's last name, but Nex committed suicide. Nex was, I believe, a non-binary student, and that's the culture that we're living in right now. You may or may not, you more than likely reject that culture, but it is amongst us. We are living with it, and it's going to take a while for us to move past it. You know, it's ultra hyper nasty and mean, and I can't wait until we defeat Trump in November. Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. How you doing, brother? You okay? You got any special projects you're working on, my friend? Any special cases? Any cases that are unusual to you? I'm not talking about the jaywalkers. I'm not talking about, you know, the petty larceny things. Any big ones? Any big ones at all? Because it sure as hell does seem like you dropped the motherfucking ball big time. Big time. You didn't just have some kind of, you know, shoplifter case that you're working on. You are prosecuting a case against the former president of the United States. And Alvin Bragg, who was supposed to be starting this case with the hush money against Donald Trump on March 25th, supposed to be starting March 25th. Now it's put off until, I learned just before we started the show, until April. And here we got Linby saying it was the DOJ's fault for not passing the documents along. Okay, that's fair. But still, you got to be on the phone every goddamn day. That's got to be your priority to get that shit. If that's not your priority, you harass them, harangue them daily. Get me the forms. It's inexcusable. And it wasn't like, 30 or 40 pages that they were waiting for. It was like 140,000 pages is what I heard. 140,000. I don't get it. Folks are asking who got to him. Marie is saying nobody got to him. Nah, I don't think anyone got them. I think somehow, inexplicably, this case fell through the cracks. I don't get it. Now, there's a difference between this case and Jack Smith. Jack Smith, who is prosecuting the classified documents case and the January 6th case. And he has been on it like a dog with a bone. He has not let go of this. He is aggressively pursuing this. This is what I expected out of Alvin Bragg. We didn't get it. I'm very disappointed. Very, very disappointed because this, out of all of the cases that were in play, this was the one that seemed like most likely to be prosecuted prior to the election and to actually have a result. Now we don't get it. So what's next? Somebody get a memo to Merrick Garland and ask him to get the fuck off of your ass and start pushing these goddamn things through. I've heard people say, oh, you shouldn't assign blame to Merrick Garland. If not him, then who? Because again, like how I was cajoling the picture of Alvin Bragg and I started this bit. Come on, Mr. Garland, U.S. Attorney General Garland. What other cases do you have that are more high profile than this? And the problem is this. The problem is that there is too much of an effort to appear nonpartisan, right? They're bending over backwards to give the appearance of, oh, we're fair and this and that. Nobody give a shit about that, man. Do your fucking job. Do it right. Prosecute it the way it should be prosecuted. I mean, as it is, Donald Trump knows how to play the game. He already knows how to delay this shit. So do not give him an inch. Do not give him any quarter on this because he's already going for it. He's already trying to delay the shit out of these cases. And so far, I hate to say, he is winning. He is winning in that regard. And Merrick Garland, sorry to say, you are a humongous disappointment. Just disgraceful. Disgraceful. Now, the Fani Willis case, this is something that we've been waiting for the verdict from Judge Scott McAfee, who had been deliberating, trying to, weigh all the evidence of the information that was brought to him from the defense. And the defense, Trump's defense attorneys went at Fani Willis and tried to disqualify her from prosecuting the case, saying that her relationship with Nathan Wade, like threw some shit in the game, and she was not being forthcoming, and she was doing it for financial benefit and all this stuff. So today we find out that she is not being disqualified. So technically she did win. This is a win. It's a win in the sense that the Trump team wanted her removed from the case altogether because she would have, I believe she would have and will prosecute this tenaciously. However, based on the time that's remaining and the likely schedule ahead for jury selection and all that, we're not going to see this thing go to court until after the election. So it would have been great. In fact, I believe it's essential, really, for the American people to see the evidence of what he did, of the lengths that he went to not lose, to stay in office. He cheated. He cheated. He went to the Secretary of State and said, hey, I just need you to find 11,780 votes. Right? I have a lot of different feelings about this case here. I feel like it's one of the strongest cases. You have a actual audio recording of him saying that. And, he almost sounds like a gangster on the phone. Instead, they went and turned this into some salacious kind of thing where people are no longer looking at Fani Willis as a district attorney, as a professional prosecutor. They are now looking at her as a sexual object, somebody who had sex with Nathan Wade. It ain't nobody's business who she was sleeping with. It had nothing to do with the case. It had nothing to do with the fact that he tried to illegally overturn the election results from the 2020 election. Had nothing to do with that. But here we are. The damage is already done. You can't unring that bell. You can't put that toothpaste back into the tube. You can't. What's done is done. So while it's a victory for Fani Willis, it's more like a Pyrrhic victory. You guys know what a Pyrrhic victory is? That is when you technically win, but the cost of your win is so costly, it feels like a loss. I think that has something to do with, I remember learning about this in school. I think it was like a Greek battle or something. So they technically won the battle, but they lost so many soldiers that, what was the point? Bittersweet. Yeah, thank you, Lulu girl. Bittersweet. So yeah, I feel like Judge McAfee let this thing get away from him. I also feel like, honestly, Fani Willis, yeah, you have some culpability there. Did you have to pick that dude? Did you have to pick him? I don't even know what I'm upset with her about, picking him as her relationship or picking him as the lead prosecutor. What came first? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, because I didn't want to be in her business. I didn't want to know about her sex life. I don't care about her sex life. They said that she was trying to benefit financially. Some lunches, a trip here and there. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. So, so now we have 4 cases. The election inquiry. We have the Georgia case, the Manhattan hush money case, the classified documents case, and the January 6th case. It's not likely that any of these are going to go to trial by November, before then. So what does that mean? I mean, it's still possible, but it's not likely. So this is right now, this is the closest this, and by the way, also the book, The Bigliest Loser. Fun fact, guys, I did speak with the illustrator of The Littlest President. I did speak with my friend John Kelly, the illustrator, the fine, talented illustrator of this book. I spoke to him just the other day, and yeah, we are on track to get the sequel, The Bigliest Loser, going to be done likely by July the latest. So, fun fact. Where was I? Yeah, so aside from reading The Bigliest Loser, this picture is probably the closest we're going to get to seeing him behind some kind of bars for this foreseeable future. But what does that mean? That means that it's up to us, folks. It's always been up to us. It's always been up to us to vote. So, yeah, I think many people are concerned about him facing consequences, facing accountability for his actions on January 6th and before then and after then. Like the classified documents thing. You can't just take nuclear secrets and do with them what you will. You know, at one point he was saying, oh, the FBI planted those documents here. And just like, what was it, yesterday, the day before, he said, I cleared those. I changed the security clearance to personal before I even left. Oh, is that what happened? Now that's what happened. So it wasn't FBI guys. And, you know, it's easy to get upset with the media for not chasing down his lies, but he tells so many of them. Sometimes I do have some sympathy for them to try to keep, because he's not normal. He's not normal. He lies like birds fly and fish swim. Comes like second nature to him. So like your brain can't even process his intent to deceive is like a constant. when you're dealing with him, you have to assume that he's a kleptomaniac, huh? So a kleptomaniac, you're not going to leave your purse out open in front of this guy unattended, right? You're going to be watching him at all times. You have to do that with Donald Trump and his lies. You know, he's going to sneak a lie in there wherever he can, and you have to be diligent, and that's not the word I was looking for. You have to be vigilant. You have to be vigilant and not let him sneak one in there, because every time he sneaks a lie unchecked in there, millions of people who are watching that broadcast hear it. Unchecked, that's dangerous. So Bernadette says she's not going to have some idiot come on here talking shit about Fani Willis. Or what happened? Did I miss something? Did I miss a troll? Let's see. Did you guys bounce him already? I didn't even see it. Let's see. I missed it. So yeah, so that's the story. Like I said, I'm disappointed about I'm disappointed about now the new delay for Fani Willis's case. And I'm disappointed that the judge chose to word his decision the way he did. Let me see. Hang on a second. There was some very specific words. He talked about like the odor of malfeasance, was it, or something? Mendacity. I think it was the odor of mendacity. That was one phrase he used, and the appearance of impropriety and a lapse of judgment. And what's unusual here, actually, let me read this really American tweet to you guys here. I'm going to share this with you real quick. Ba-ba-ba-da-ba. Ra-da-da-da-da. Okay. Something is seriously wrong with a judicial system in which DA Fani Willis is criticized for, quote, the appearance of impropriety and, quote, a lapse of judgment, while Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas is allowed to keep his seat despite the, quote unquote, appearance of impropriety in accepting possibly millions in gifts from billionaires without recusing himself. Excuse me. Isn't it a quote unquote lapse of judgment for Thomas to opine on January 6th cases while his own wife attempted to overturn the 2020 election? It's an excellent question. It's a very well worded tweet. Yeah, it's a great question. The appearance of impropriety. Wait, that's not what. The appearance of impropriety and the lapse of judgment are specifically what Donald Trump exhibited in the crime he is being accused for by asking the Secretary of State to find 11,780 votes. He knew that shit was wrong. He knew it. He knew it. And he cannot get away with it. He cannot. So what we have to do is in this order. It's in this order. We have to turn out in numbers too strong to cheat. Everybody, grandma, grandpa, uncle, friend, daughter, son, everybody to the polls. Vote legally. Vote blue. Not just for President Biden and Kamala Harris, but down ticket, everybody down ticket, all the local, everybody, just blue, straight down. And then when we win, we should have the House back. We should still have the Senate. Keeping the Senate is going to be tough. There's like a lot of seats up for grabs, but it's doable. We can do it. Republicans are throwing some clowns out there that they have nothing to show for their time in office, unlike the Democrats. So we win big. And then when it is time for those cases to continue to move forward, to be prosecuted, he won't be in office, and then he will be held accountable. In that order. So we got to win for that to happen. And also, by the way, if we win, we also get to codify Roe. So that's more important, really, honestly, than putting him behind bars. Keeping Social Security and Medicare safe. Also, super duper important. Protecting our voting rights. Hugely important. Protecting the Affordable Care Act and making sure that the Republicans cannot snatch that out from under us and suddenly make us uncovered, uninsured. And here's a good one from Lynn B. Expand SCOTUS. I'm with you there. I'm 100% with you there. Sick and tired of whatever this is that happened to the Supreme Court. Shit is out of control. And excellent point, Chris. France already made abortion a constitutional right. I forget when that happened because there's so much there's so much news in the news cycle. I don't remember if that was this week or last week, but yeah, big time. All right, guys. Thank you so much once again for joining me for another episode of Storytime with BDD. I'm your host, BDD, aka Brooklyn Dad. Folks, you know, it's that time. Hey, Audrey, to you. Audrey, you. Glad to see you. I haven't seen you in a long time. Hi, Audrey. Good to see you there. Yeah, so thank you for joining me today. If you have not yet gotten your shot, I don't know what to tell you. I don't know who you listening to. RFK Jr.? Is he in your ear telling you don't get the shot? Get the shot. You'll be fine. Yeah, and as I said in the beginning of the show, I plan to eat some pizza and watch that movie with Nicolas Cage. I forget the name of it already. It's called Dream Scenario. Dream Scenario, and also the Ricky Stenicki one too. So RNC is now doing voter suppression on steroids. Yes, Wilbur McCarthy, I did hear about that. We're going to jump on that. Mark Elias, I'm sure, is already way ahead of all of us on that note. And I want to say, guys, I will see you here next week, same time, same place. I love you all. Peace.